Welcome to this very special Q&A with Linnea Quigley. I am very excited to be running this. I just found out that I was doing this 2 seconds ago, so I am thrilled. We're going to keep it mostly to audience questions because I don't want to steal anyone's thunder or anyone's... I know there are probably lots of questions that people have to want to share and ask you, but I have to tell you that I'm a huge fan of yours, not only from the cemetery dance, a scene that I really love, and your hair was amazing. But you're also a vegetarian, which I think is really incredible, because I'm a vegetarian. So.
Yay!
So I guess my question to you is maybe about vegetarianism and how it's affected your life and your acting. And I know that you do a lot of, you do things for PETA, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Okay, I've been a vegetarian for, I guess, about 25 years, and I did it when I saw this special on TV, and it showed just like the horrible things they do to animals, like just with experiments and things like that, and I thought, well, listen, I love animals, and I just, why am I eating them? So I stopped eating them and got into like rescuing a lot of animals, dogs, cats, even some giant African rats of Fredol and Ray's that I had to place. And I work with PETA a lot and just do hands-on work too. And just make people aware of just not buying things that are tested on animals, things like that.
And maybe I'll ask as well, how did you get into acting? How did you start out? And are you a big fan yourself of genre films, since a lot of the films that you star in are horror movies? And so are you a fan, and how did you get into acting?
I am definitely a fan. My friends and I would always watch on Saturday night the Creature feature, and we'd, try to dye the best that we could. We'd do little skits, and we loved, I remember when we saw Night of the Living Dead, because my middle name's Barbara, and so we got a kick out of him going through the cemetery. You know how you do when you're a kid, like, they're using your name, like, Barbara, I'm going to get you. So, and I'd scare my friend, like, would see Alfred Hitchcock, The Birds, and I'd say, oh, you're going to go home, and, oh, look at all those birds that are, coming around, and just scare my friends, stuff like that. Modeling first, and then started doing extra work, and then under fives, and then luckily I got into the graduation day, Don't Go Near the Park, some of those cool 70s, late 70s films.
Excellent. I'm going to open it up to the floor because I don't want to sit here and talk all day. I'm still a little bit in shock that I'm here right now. So, are we using this microphone?
Yeah, I will pass this one down to the fans. Any fans with questions for Linnea? Obviously, you people came to ask some questions. One in the back here. We'll start off.
Some of the late 80s movies you made, like the David D. Couture ones, Sorority Babes and Creepazoids, they look like you were having tons of fun making them. But is that quick stuff? Did you guys, is that like a Roger Corman movie? You rip one off in less than a month and maybe made 3 in a year? Or?
Oh my God, we did, Sorority Babes took a week, I think, to do, maybe a week and a half, and we were on location. And we shot all nights, and it was only 12 hours that we shot, so it wasn't going into the next day, and we had proper rest and everything like that. But he just would move like that, you do on TV. He just knew what shots he was going to get, and Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers was done Memorial Day weekend. It was just 3 days plus 1 day of pickups. So we didn't have time to rehearse, do anything. It was just you had to know your lines, try to get it on the first take, hit your marks, and know, oh, that was great. It's just move on, okay, we're going. It was crazy. It was fun though, because we were like a family. Everybody usually worked together, like Brink and Michelle and I, or it was the crew knew each other, the DP, everybody. It was fun.
It looks like you're always having a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Microphone's right here. Sorry. Anyone else? Next question. Next question. Cruising around. You got something. You're looking at me. You want a question?
Everybody's so
I can
quiet.
Ask another question.
Maybe, you know, because I know it's on everyone's mind, being naked in front of a camera. I can't imagine that it's easy, especially when you have a whole crew there. And horror is sort of a man's world, right?
Yes, yes.
A lot of men on set.
Mhm.
What was that like, and how can you possibly prepare for that? And then, you know, you looked pretty comfortable up there, rocking it. So, what is that like?
It's kind of like going to the doctor. You always feel like really like, I know it's a doctor, but I just don't want to really take off my clothes. But I would just like not make a big deal of it, because the more you make a big deal of it, the more people are going to want to look. And I remember the first time I had to do something naked was in a movie that was a musical fairy tale movie called Fairy Tales. And I did push-ups before I did it to get my adrenaline going so I wouldn't think about it. And just did it. But like, I learned, like when I started producing, you know, you didn't have to have a lot of people on set. You could just, you know, kick a lot of people off set, because I noticed that they usually have one day they do the nudity, and they do it usually in the beginning of the shoot, because a lot of times you'll shoot something and an actress will go, oh, I'm not going to do nudity. And they're stuck. I mean, they have to use the girl, and she's not going to get nude. So they usually do it in the first part, but people will invite their friends to come to the set. So I learned to say, no, you 40-year-olds, you know, you see naked girls plenty, please, you know, leave the room, and things like that, so that it wasn't a whole party of people looking at breasts.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of funny. They invited friends for nude days.
Oh, those boys.
Yes.
A crowd full of them.
Yeah.
Does
Yes.
anyone else have any questions?
I got a follow-up question. You were talking about fairy tales. That was Wizard Video stuff, Charles Band, right?
Yeah, it was Charlie's.
They released a tape that was called Auditions. I think you were on that tape.
That's another one.
Now, was
There's
that
fairy tales? And
it was phony
auditions.
baloney, right? It was completely.
Oh
fake.
yeah, it was all faked. It was all faked. It was just, you know, a lot of ad-libs type stuff, but it was supposed to be like a candid camera-ish type auditioning for a film.
That's right. No, okay, so take the aspect of something like that. Back in the day, they would have these kind of films that would be treated as an expose or a farce or anything like that. Like, the marketing for those films, do you think that's lost, or do you think that, like, do you notice there's a lot of things that you do with your career now that you utilize a lot of the styles of the 70s, or do you think that everything's changed now, like the digital medium? Do you think that internet tapes and internet leaked videos and stuff like that, that's the new way of marketing? But you see that evolution. How do you evolve in a business perspective?
Well, it's changed a lot. I remember I used to do a lot of modeling they would sell the movies by the poster to get financing, and I remember doing a poster for reform school girls, and that's how they went to get money, by like, oh, this is what the movie's going to be like, you know, and there were three of us girls in, like, you know, jailhouse outfits, short skirts and things like that. And now it seems like, I mean, there's all kinds of ways. There's Kickstarter people use. There's independent financing. Some people finance it themselves. It's really weird. It's like the cameras are getting smaller. It's like I just did something called Bloodstruck, you know, and the cameras are like that, you know, and I'm like, what, are you going to take my picture? It's just really strange sometimes how it's changed. And to go from 16 to 35 millimeter to video was even really weird for me. It just didn't feel like you were making a film at first.
I got another question. There were, like, I've seen a lot of pictures of you with guitar. Did you ever actually get involved in music at all?